Hello, everybody. I am Miranda Mikhailis, and today I will be talking about Sargon of Akkad at VidCon. Now, for me, I would try to present this as fairly as possible because there are two sides of the event, and I would try to present both sides as fairly as possible. But first, let's get into what Mike.com has to say about this event. Okay, I am going to skip down to who is this Sargon guy and what did he do? Benjamin, who regularly makes videos criticizing Sarkeesian in her views. Okay, this part seems like it's written by somebody who doesn't watch Sargon of Akkad. He probably has two, three, maybe four videos criticizing Anita Sarkeesian. It is important to remember he has his Sargon of Akkad channel, his The Thinker channel, and when he does This Week in Stupid, he talks about a wide variety of things. Basically, what was popular in the news that week. I hardly ever seen Anita Sarkeesian mentioned in his channel. And to be fair, I mean, I've only been watching like Sargon of Akkad for like 1 year, maybe two. So again, I hardly ever seen Anita Sarkeesian mentioned in his channel. To me, that would just get very old very fast. He talks about Brexit. He talks about Donald Trump. He's even, gotten in some trouble over Donald Trump for defending the guy. So I feel like this article is being disingenuous because he it makes it seem like every other video is about Sunita Sarkeesian, and that is the furthest thing from the case. I wouldn't have been paying much attention to her if it wasn't for the left making a mountain out of a molehill and organized a targeted harassment campaign. Um, I just don't agree with this. Organized a targeted harassment campaign in which his friends and he occupied the first three rows at the panel under the guise of attempting to engage with her. Why does that have to be a guise? I mean, from what they say that they're all like really popular YouTubers and they want a close up clip so that people could see it for themselves on their channel. People just wanted to get a good view, a good spot, so that they could have it on their channel. It's important to know that they're all popular YouTubers and people will be watching their channel for what's going on over there. So I don't see what's this guise of attempting to engage with her. Though it is clear their presence was simply meant to intimidate Sarkeesian and disrupt the panel. I don't think that's what they were trying to do. I mean, I could see why a feminist would say this or people from the left would say this. But again, there's two sides to the story. And they just said that they wanted a good view, to have a good clip to put on their channel. VidCon denounced Benjamin's behavior at the panel as well, saying that regardless of his intentions, it looked like intentional intimidation to most people in, in attendance. Furthermore, VidCon apologized for not having been more of the act aware of and active in understanding the situation before the events, which resulted in Sarkeesian being subjected to a hostile environment which she had not signed up for. Okay, so I am going to interject on how I feel about this. Now, I could kind of see where Anita Sarkeesian is coming from if she was a normal, everyday person. As a normal, everyday person, I mean, if I were to walk on stage and I saw, my biggest haters in the front row, I would probably be a lot like, shit, like this is like an uncomfortable position to be in. I mean, imagine the people who take the biggest issues with you all sitting in the front row. That could put a person off, especially since most people would go through stage fright. Stage fright is a very common occurrence. You're already going to be nervous and, a little bit shaking, being in front of hundreds of people, like being in front of hundreds of people, that can make anybody nervous. Like, oh, I'm in front of hundreds of people. Oh. But then you just have your biggest critics there. I mean, I could see how this could be upsetting for your average person. However, like the auntie Seth pointed out, she's a professional at this. She does her living being a professional speaker. She does speaking gigs all the time. For a professional public speaker, this is really, really bad because there are other public speakers who do deal with haters. I mean, there are so many other public speakers who deal with haters so much better than this. I would say that even Milo Yiannopoulos deals with haters better than this. I would say that even Donald Trump deals with haters better than this. I mean, come on now. Come now, you are just a grown woman, and not only are you grown, but this is what you do for a living. But to me, this is what happens when you don't address criticisms at all whatsoever. For other people who do this for a living, they they know how to deal with criticisms. They know because they are already prepared for it. They are already prepared. They probably rehearsed it. They probably rehearsed it with a friend. And they probably had their friend be like, okay, you are going to be my opponent. And they probably rehearsed what they're going to say in front of their critics. But Anita Sarkeesian ignores all of her critics. She doesn't respond to any of them. She just calls them ad hominem attacks. They are just sexist. They are misogynist. They are just bad people. She doesn't respond to any criticisms. So when her biggest critics are sitting in the front row, all she knows how to do is throw a temper tantrum and have a conniption and just lose her shit and just starts all of these attacks and then play a victim. Something that wouldn't be the case if she'd had years of practice responding to criticisms. I mean, and this is also why people don't like her. People don't like her because she doesn't address criticisms. But again, I think that where the feminists are coming from are the average everyday person. How the average everyday person would feel like if they're when their biggest critics are sitting in the front row. Especially since I don't know what each of them had to say about Anita Sarkeesian. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea what each individual person sitting in the front row said about Anita Sarkeesian. But again, if Anita Sarkeesian, addressed her criticisms, she would have that practice build up. She would have all that practice build up, and she would know how to handle the situation where her critics there, her critics are in the front row, just let them make the first move because that is the best advice ever. Like I saw this on a YouTube video once, and the guy was like, always let your opponents make the first move, and then you just act accordingly. You let them slip up. And it's great to rehearse what you're going to say. Like, write down your biggest criticisms. Like, write down what your critics are most likely to say and just respond. Because they were just regular, everyday, average people in the audience that asked her, well, out of, the years and years of what you said over the internet, do you believe in what you have to say? And Anita Sarkeesian had a bad attitude, a really ugly attitude, and said, it's a stupid question. She had an attitude like, it's a stupid question. She was just mean, rude, and nasty to a person over, the audience. And I could have handled it better than that. I could have handled the situation much better than that. I would be like, yes, I believe what I say on the internet. Or the situation with Boogie. Boogie seems like a nice, kind, friendly guy, and he was in a panel with Anita Sarkeesian, and he was afraid of offending her. He spent the whole entire time scared and afraid of offending her. Then he was speaking as a cis-het white male who is fat, and according to him, Anita was really upset with him. And Anita was a lot like, you didn't give me enough time to respond, or you didn't give others enough time to respond. She was just being so mean and hateful to him. And so he tried to talk to her in the back, and Anita says to Boogie, you're not hated because you're a white man. You're hated because you're fat. And that would piss anybody off. A lot of what came out about Anita Sarkeesian, she is just really, really mean and hateful. I personally would never ever like a person like that. Now, there's no way I'm going to remember everything, so I have some notes about what people have been saying. Okay, what it has been saying is if the roles were reversed and if Sargon was on stage and he called Anita Sarkeesian a garbage human being, nobody would like it. And that's true. I mean, if the roles were reversed and it was Sargon who called Anita Sarkeesian a garbage human, and she's just sitting there, all of the feminists would be like, how could you? It is wrong to call, a person a garbage human. This is so wrong and so terrible. How could you do such a thing? Anita Sarkeesian should follow the rules just like everybody else. Now, to be fair to Sargon of Akkad, um, he does um he does say in his videos, do not contact these people. Do not contact any of the people mentioned in my videos. Now, what's I've been hearing from the feminist side is that Sargon of Akkad doesn't really follow his own rules. What this means is that think about Jess Phillips, I wouldn't even rape you. Now Sargon of Akkad does say in his videos, do not contact any of the people mentioned in my videos. I do not want you to contact these people. They will play the victim. But then on Twitter, he would contact the people. He would say, do not contact. Would I wouldn't even rape you. Where Sargon started it, and Jess Phillips received, like 600 tweets from fans of Sargon saying, I wouldn't even rape you, you know. Or there's another situation where Sargon of Akkad was at Starbucks and he took a picture of a person there who had like I'm a feminist written on their shirts, and he took a picture of her without even thinking, and her face was like showing, and then people figured out who she was, and then they gave her lots and lots of hell. And I could see how, from the outside looking in, how Sargon could seem like a harasser, even though from Sargon's point of view, Sargon apologized for it, and he did tell his fans off. Sargon did say to his fans, don't do this. How many times have I told you, do not contact these people? He was angry at his fans, and he was angry at himself. And, you know, I believe it was the ranting feminist who says he should know better. It's kind of a lot like you have, about 500,000 subs. You have like, I don't know, like 600K subs. Shouldn't you like know better? Shouldn't you know better than to take pictures of people? Don't you know how your fans act to other people? Because I mean, so many people, they tracked her down and they gave her so much hell. And like when you pay attention to the feminist community, there would be people who would be false flagging their videos because they are a feminist, and it is it's it what it really comes down to is that I don't think either side pays attention to how they come across to the outside looking in. People just see things from inside of the community looking out. Like we were just there, sitting there. We were just trying to get a good footage. We were, trying to get a good footage for our YouTube channel. We were just sitting there. But from the outside looking in, you have all of these terrible videos about her, and you decide to all take up the front row, which, could make the average everyday person feel uncomfortable. But again, Anita Sarkeesian is a professional speaker. She should know how to deal with criticisms because there are other public speakers who can deal with criticisms. There are other public speakers. Okay, maybe Donald Trump isn't the best example because he does want to open the libel laws. So maybe Donald Trump isn't the best example. And he did bar, the left wing media from meeting him in the White House and whatnot. And, Milo Yiannopoulos, he does ridicule people himself. So I guess those weren't the best choices, but you could find other public speakers who do get criticized or heckled, and they just have fun with it. Like there's this one actor, I think he played Loki in a movie about Thor, and he got hecklers in the audience, and like somebody told him like to kneel or whatever, and he just had fun with it. He turned a negative into a positive. You know what I'm saying? Some people, they are prepared for the critics. They are prepared for the haters. They know that the haters are going to be there. So they know what to say. Barack Obama. There was this case where there were a bunch of black people who were holding up signs saying Obama is supported by the KKK. Obama gets support from the KKK, which has been debunked. It was a bunch of British British people wearing KKK uniforms saying we support Barack Obama. It wasn't true. But with all of these black people saying Obama supports the KKK, you know, Obama, he was still charming, charismatic. Because they're here. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a dialogue. You believe this? Let's talk, So there is a way to handle people. There is a way to handle your haters. And, Anita Sarkeesian handled it wrong. It does appeal to the normie, but again, she's a professional, and as a professional, she should be prepared for this. And this has been Renemy Kylis. There is another article I wanted to talk about. However, this video is already going to be long enough, so I'll probably just make a part two, you know. So this has been Rune Michaelis. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, share my videos everywhere. Tell all your friends about me. Leave me a comment down below, and I'll see you next time.